Why is it that when someone tells you to just think positive, it feels more like a slap than a comfort? Why does chasing happiness sometimes feel like pouring salt on an open wound rather than healing it? Centuries ago, Marcus Aurelius warned us that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Yet, somewhere along the way, we twisted his wisdom into shallow affirmations and fake smiles, forcing positivity over pain. Here's the uncomfortable Stoic truth. Your mind isn't built for comfort. It's designed for survival. It's wired to amplify fear, to replay anxieties, to fixate on what could go wrong until you're trapped in a never-ending cycle of self-inflicted suffering. A cycle you may not even realize you've built yourself. But what if real strength wasn't about pretending you're okay? What if it was about staring straight into the shadows you've been running from your entire life? Today, I want to share with you a powerful Stoic insight tone that shatters every hollow notion of positivity you've ever been sold. Once you truly grasp it, you'll never see yourself or your struggles the same way again. You see, your thoughts are not innocent little whispers floating aimlessly in your head. They are architects. Architects building the walls, the doors, and the entire framework of your reality, moment by moment. Isn't it strange how we often dismiss our inner dialogue as harmless background noise, never realizing it sets the ceiling for our potential? The ancient Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself again and again, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Let that sink in for a moment. Your happiness, your success begins not in the world outside, but in how you choose to frame it inside your mind. Picture this. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the ground, you've already rehearsed defeat. You tell yourself the day will be terrible, that you'll fail, that everything will go wrong. You're not living your life. You're playing out a story written by your fears, your anxieties, not your true capabilities. The tragedy is, most people never stop to question these stories. They accept them as reality, never realizing these are simply thoughts, not facts. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." How many times have you blamed life or fate for circumstances your own mind quietly manufactured? Your thoughts aren't passive, they're active. They are shaping your experience of life. But here's the liberating partif. Your thoughts hold such enormous power. Doesn't that also mean you have the power to change them? To change your entire life? What if, instead of waking up resigned to a day of mediocrity, you chose to rewrite the script? What if you told yourself, no matter what happens today, I have the strength, resilience, and clarity to face it head on? Seneca captured it perfectly when he wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How many of your worries, your defeats, your worst-case scenarios exist only in your mind phantoms you painted on the walls of your own imagination? When you finally acknowledge the power your thoughts hold, you take the first step toward reclaiming control over your story. You begin to rewrite it into one of purpose and strength. Think of your mind not as a random event generator, but as a garden. Left untended, weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity will overrun it. But if you consciously plant seeds of courage, optimism, and discipline, those are the flowers that will eventually bloom. Modern psychology supports this too through cognitive reframing. It's about changing how you view setbacks and obstacles not as threats, but as invitations to grow. This isn't blind positivity. It's deliberate empowerment. It's the Stoic discipline of transforming every obstacle from a wall into a stepping stone. So, the next time you catch yourself spiraling into negativity, stop, pause. Recognize that your thoughts are not facts. They are choices. Epictetus taught, people are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. Life isn't happening to you. You are actively interpreting it. Choose interpretations that empower you. Choose thoughts that move you toward action, not paralysis. Once you grasp the immense power your mind holds, you realize the power was never out there. It's been inside you all along, waiting for you to claim it. Your thoughts are shaping your reality. Shape them with intention. Shape them with bravery. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to glide through life's storms while others get stuck in endless loops of anxiety and frustration? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's how they've trained their minds. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than anyone when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your mindset isn't a soft, fluffy concept. It's the control center of your life. Imagine waking up tomorrow, not groggy, not weighed down by dread, but feeling calm, focused, ready to handle whatever comes. Picture saying to yourself, "Today, I've got this. I'm not just going to survive, I'm going to thrive." Sure, at first, it might feel awkward, forced. But let me tell you something. Profound, a very great achievement in history started as a belief in someone's mind. They visualized success. They believed it was possible. Then, they aligned their actions to make it real. Henry Ford said it best, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." Don't misunderstand. Adopting a strong mindset doesn't mean deluding yourself into believing life will always be easy. It means reshaping how you respond when it gets hard. The Stoics embraced difficulty as a teacher, not an enemy. Epictetus said, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in overcoming it." Look at anyone you admire. They didn't get where they are by avoiding setbacks. They faced them. They learned. They adapted. They got up stronger every time. Carl Jung reminded us, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Your circumstances don't define you. Your mindset does. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of life's randomness, start seeing yourself as an architect, someone who actively builds the narrative they live by. And the amazing thing? This shift is contagious. When you believe you're capable, your actions follow. Your energy shifts. People notice. Opportunities open. Life begins to reflect your new belief. It's not magic, it's logic. Your inner world shapes your outer reality. Seneca famously wrote, "It's not because things are difficult that we dare not venture. It's because we dare not venture that they are difficult." The moment you choose courage over fear, action over hesitation, you unlock a hidden reservoir of strength you never knew was there. Your mindset becomes the key that turns ideas into achievements, dreams into realities. So, tomorrow morning, when your feet hit the floor, remind yourself, you've got this. No matter what the day brings, you're not just going to face it, you're going to own it. Every single morning is a crossroads. It might not always feel that way, but it is. In that first moment, you choose, do I lean into fear, or do I step boldly into confidence? Remember Seneca's words, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Your fears are vivid, but they're often imaginary walls keeping you from what you're capable of. You don't have to listen to those voices anymore. Interrupt them, challenge them, flip the script. Say to yourself, I've faced worse. I can handle this too. It sounds simple. But don't underestimate the power of these moments. Your brain listens to what you tell it. Every thought you feed it either strengthens or weakens your resolve. Think of your confidence as a muscle. Every time you replace fear with belief, doubt with determination, you're training that muscle. Over time, it becomes your default. This change isn't instant. It takes consistency. Marcus Aurelius knew this when he wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Every day gives you small chances to reinforce that mindset. Speak up. Take the leap. Have that conversation. Every small win stacks up until you no longer recognize the person who used to doubt themselves. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's your daily choice. Let fear rule. Choose to act from your strengths, your past wins, your proven resilience. Your mental diet determines your destiny. People spend hours sculpting their bodies, but when was the last time you trained your mind? Marcus Aurelius, even as emperor, reminded himself daily, the things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. So before you scroll, before the chaos of the day, take one quiet minute. Look yourself in the mirror. Say something true, something intentional. I am enough. I have what it takes. Today, I choose to move for... It might sound silly at first, right? Especially if you're not used to talking to yourself with kindness. It might feel awkward, unnatural, even a little fake. But let me remind you, the awkwardness is temporary. The strength you build from these small moments of self-affirmation, that's permanent. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." So if you want real, unshakable confidence, don't just wish for it. Build it, layer by layer, rep by rep. Think of it like training a muscle. You wouldn't expect to walk into a gym, lift a single weight, and walk out with strength that lasts forever. Your thoughts are no different. They need daily, intentional repetitions. Every time you practice gratitude instead of frustration, every time you pause and choose to reframe a challenge rather than react blindly, you're conditioning your mind. You're rewriting your mental scripts. And those small, seemingly insignificant moments, they stack. They accumulate like drops of water filling a reservoir. Over time, they shift your default reactions. You move from spiraling into panic to calmly solving problems. From doubting yourself to deciding with conviction. But don't expect perfection. Some days, you'll miss the mark. That's okay. The Stoics never aimed to erase emotion. They aimed to manage it. Epictetus reminded us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that kind of mastery doesn't come from avoiding difficulty. It comes from returning to your training, especially when things feel off, when your emotions spike, when fear tries to creep back in. That's when your mental reps pay off the most. That's when the training kicks in. You breathe. You ground yourself. You choose response over reaction, power over panic. And you don't have to start big. Start small. 10 deep breaths in the morning. A single journal line that says, "Here's what I'm grateful for." A quiet affirmation before a difficult conversation or meeting. You're not building some fantasy mindset. You're building real mental toughness. Just like the body, it's the daily consistency that reshapes you, not the rare moments of motivation. Seneca said it perfectly, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." And mental training? That's your preparation. So when life throws something unexpected at you, and it will, you won't fold. You'll face it with a kind of calm that even surprises you. Not because the storm disappeared, but because you've been training for it all along. Train your mind as if your life depends on it, because, in many ways, it does. Have you ever noticed how belief feels powerful until it's time to actually move? That's the gap where most people get stuck. They dream big. They journal intentions. They even talk passionately about their goals to anyone who listen. But they don't take that uncomfortable, awkward, imperfect first step. And that step? That's where the real transformation begins. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop talking, start doing. Because here's an eternal truth: action kills fear. Every time you do the thing you were afraid of, yes, even a tiny part of it, that fear loses its grip. It's not magic, it's exposure. The Stoics taught this through the principle of voluntary discomfort. Practice facing discomfort so that when real adversity shows up, you're already familiar with the feeling. You've trained for it. Epictetus said, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Simple words, not easy. You don't need a 10-step master plan to start. You need a decision. One small, imperfect, messy action that aligns with your values and your vision. That's how momentum is built. One push, one call, one message, one attempt. Suddenly, you're not standing still anymore. Suddenly, belief isn't just in your head, it's in your hands. So, yes, keep visualizing, keep affirming, but more importantly, move. Let your belief breathe through your actions. Let it live in the choices you make every single day. Because when you start acting like the person you want to become, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting for permission. You stop being a prisoner of your own doubt. And without even realizing it, you become the proof that belief, when backed by action, changes everything. But let's be honest. How many things in your life are still on pause because you're waiting for it to feel right? That magical moment when motivation strikes, when clarity appears, when all the stars finally align. Truth is, that moment doesn't exist. And if it does, it rarely shows up when you need it most. Seneca said it best. While we wait for life, life passes. You're not stuck because you lack potential. You're stuck because you keep waiting. Perfection is a lie fear tells you. It says, wait until you're ready. Wait until you're more confident. Wait until the timing is better. But life doesn't reward delay. It rewards direction. Even a shaky first step is better than standing still. Carl Jung once wrote, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parents." But that burden doesn't vanish just because you're grown. It lingers. It lingers every time you silence your own voice. Every time you hesitate instead of building. Every time you let the moment pass you by. You're not just putting off a task, you're postponing a version of yourself that's ready to evolve. Momentum is magic. It doesn't demand certainty, it just needs a spark. And once you start moving, your mind catches up. What once felt overwhelming starts to shrink. You build confidence not by thinking. You build it by doing. And then doing again. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That thing you've been avoiding, that's your starting line. So stop handing fear the microphone. Stop giving your excuses the final word. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need more time. You need action. Right now, even if it's small. Especially if it's small. That message you've been meaning to send? Send it. That idea you've been sitting on? Draft it. That change you've been imagining? Begin it. Today is the only thing that's real, not the someday you keep fantasizing about. And every time you act, you chip away at the chains holding you back. Fear loses power, doubt gets quieter, you get stronger. You don't need permission. You already have the key. Now use it. Ward.